Hi everybody, my name is Emily Page Wilson. I'm a poet. I also write young adult novels in verse. I'm working on my second one right now. My first one I pitch as a modern retelling of Harriet the Spy set in South Carolina during hurricane season. I'm on submission for that one now, so put some good energy out there for that little book baby doing its thing, making its rounds. This one that I'm working on, the main character is obsessed with Bigfoot, and it's also an exploration of mental health and health anxiety. And I thought it would be fun to shoot a writing blog. I watch a ton of these, but I've never done one myself. And so I wanted to take you guys on for the ride. Full disclosure, it's about 1:15 Tuesday. I was gonna say it's January 18th. I think it's the 19th. I don't even know. It's the 19th. So it's 1:15 Tuesday, January 19th. I'm taking a little bit of a later lunch break. I had a working lunch and then I have a bunch of meetings this afternoon past 5. Normally I write at 5 when I get off of work. I work for university. But today I'm going to try to tease out 200 words on my break. And I only write about 200 words a day when I'm working on this project. When I'm working on poems, it's a little bit different. The young adult novels and verse, I just do 200 words a day. Super low stakes, super low pressure, but it allows me to spend all of my time crafting really high quality language. Poetry is so much about how much you can condense in a moment, right? It's the imagery and the brevity. And so what I find is most important in my writing is the quality of attention that I bring to the page. And what I also love about just 200 words a day, because I'm writing a novel in verse, the word count's really only about 30 to 35K for a draft. So just writing 200 words a day will get me there in about 6 months-ish, maybe, depending on other life circumstances as well. So, like I said, I'm in project number 2. I'm in the fun and games section, and I'm going to try to hit 200 words. So I am back, same spot, different time. I promise it's a little bit before 2, and I did hit 200 words. I got to 232, and the writing's okay. It's okay, not bad. It's okay. I'm at a scene that is actually pretty fun to write. My protagonist has a bit of a foil character, and this poor character is not actually a foil to the protagonist. The protagonist has some trust issues, among other things. And this is a scene in which the protagonist, the foil's kind of stepping up for the protagonist and defending them in an unexpected way. And the protagonist is going to have to realize, oh, I've got some walls. They probably need to come down. And so it's always fun when you get to explore that in a character, that self-realization. But what I was thinking about was how writing scenes in verse, I make certain allowances that I would not allow on the page for a standalone poem. And I think that on one hand, like, you shouldn't admit to that as a craftsperson, but on the other hand, it is true. If we're using language as a vehicle, you can't use the same approach for different types of projects always. So if you'd be interested in hearing me talk a little bit more about how I approach the craft, not in one genre or another, they're not necessarily different genres, but they are, one is just it's narrative driven, and most of my standalone poems aren't quite, they're much more lyrical. So hit that word count. We're at 232. I stopped kind of mid-scene. What's nice about writing these little vignettes in poems is that they're pretty easy to pick up and they're pretty easy to put down, so I have momentum for the next day. So right now I'm just about to head back to work, and I will check in with you guys tomorrow. Hey everyone, so it's a little bit before 1 on Wednesday. I just got done with my lunch break. I was hoping to maybe get some writing in yesterday because I did like being able to just be finished with everything before I got off of work. But that didn't happen because I was busy answering emails, and they were actually pretty exciting emails. Yesterday I got sent the first mock cover drafts for my debut poetry collection, which is coming out in 2022, early spring, I think. That's called Yalubi. It's about my Czech heritage and trying to find the small farming village that my great grandparents immigrated from. So that was really cool. I started writing those poems about 10 years ago. So I was sending some feedback to the design team, and I was also emailing my editor back for my chapbook, Hypochondria, Least Powerful of the Greek Gods. We're trying to schedule a reading, and so that correspondence took up most of my lunch break. And I think it's really easy for a lot of us in the writing community to feel to feel competitive, right? Especially when we're so entrenched with social media. And so whenever I get to spend time doing something like that, like corresponding with editors or corresponding with a design team who's spending time with my work, right? Like that's the thing that you should feel most grateful for, is that people are spending time with your work in a creative capacity and engaging with it and thinking of ways to share it with others. I just always try to recenter myself and to be really grateful that I get to be a part of this process. That being said, did not write. We'll check in this afternoon after work. So it's a little bit past 5:30 and I just finished for the day. And I got 311 words in. I finished the scene that I was working on yesterday, even though it's broken down into much smaller vignettes. And then I went upstairs to make sure I have a big cork board on which I have an entire Save the Cat beat sheet laid out for this project. And so I made sure that I was still on track with my word count to where I should be in the fun and game section. And I think we're good. I have about 300 more words left before I have to really change the scene. But I also need to make sure that the scenes that follow afterwards, now that I'm in the actual project, that they still align with how I imagined them when I was plotting. That's something you have to do a lot, is renegotiate what the actual process is versus what you thought it would be when you were plotting. But I really do like the Save the Cat approach. I'll probably talk about that later. But 311 words in, and now I'm gonna go eat pizza. We have homemade pizza for dinner, so I'm really excited. Hey everybody, it's Thursday, it's just before 5, and I finished writing for the day. That's weird because it's before 5, but I'm working 5 to 6, so I just flexed 4 to 5 and got my writing in. 256 words, so I feel good about that. I definitely am tomorrow after work going to have to sit down with my beat sheet again, and like I said, just make sure that the next few scenes are on track in terms of word count and plot progression, but I will check back in with you because I'm going to go back to work. But yeah, Thursday the 21st. So it is exactly 6 o'clock on Friday afternoon, and I just finished writing. I think I hit 245 words for today, which puts us over the 1,000 word mark for the week, which is really exciting. I always like hitting those 1,000 word increments. I feel like it's a really rewarding milestone. So I was not able to sit down, or I haven't been able to, and I'm hungry, so I'm going to make dinner. So I'm not going to. I didn't sit down and look at my Save the Cat beat sheet that I have all plotted out on a cork board with post-it notes to make sure that I'm still matching the pace of the scenes that I plotted and that the word counts align. I checked on that and I have a pretty good feeling that I am on track, but I want to be a little bit more thorough, which I'll probably do tomorrow because tomorrow's Saturday and we have more time. So I will check in with you guys probably earlier in the morning. On the weekends, I like to try to write a little bit earlier. So I'll see you then. But after one on Saturday, January 23rd, I wrote earlier this morning, did not get around to updating you guys until just now, but I hit 196 words. I know that's not the full 200. We're gonna let those 4 little words go because I got to the end of a scene and it just didn't make sense for me to keep moving on and pushing forward when I hit a really good ending spot that I can pick back up on tomorrow. So if I did my math correctly, which you will see on the slides in between videos, that's my biggest concern, is that I'm going to have added incorrectly and somebody's gonna call me out on it. But you know, that's fine. I hope I added correctly. If I did, the total weekly word count now is 1240, which means the average is actually 248 words per day, which means that I'm overwriting the goal that I set for myself. Now, again, the goal is super low, right? 200 words per writing session per day. Now, those of y'all who are doing the Lord's work and who are actually writing novels in prose and who are trying to hit a 70K or a 100,000K goal, 200 words per day, I don't know if that's going to help you along in your process as much, but again, for somebody who's writing in verse, I think it's a really helpful target. I did also sit down this morning with my beat sheet, and I'm technically behind where I projected myself to be. I'm about 7,700 words into the project, but that's okay. I kind of reconfigured some scenes. What's more important to me now, actually writing, being in the process of writing, is that the scenes that I add every single day feel fluid and organic, and they're moving the story along. And that's going to happen in a way that you can't always anticipate when you're just crafting beats. And that's fine for me. I still find fluidity and creativity and space to expand and contract as necessary, even though I use a pretty thorough outline. So for me, what's most important now is not necessarily the specific word count that I had originally anticipated, but that each scene is building up tension and stakes and it's moving the plot forward. So I think I'm actually going to end the writing vlog today. I know, I said a weekly, but I kind of like the 5-day increments. One, just to give myself 2 days off if I don't want to film every single day, but also I just find the 1,000-word mark really satisfying. And so for this first attempt, we definitely hit it. We're still in the fun and games. We're going to be in the fun and games section for quite a while. Y'all know that that is a very long trek of space when you are working on a novel. So for this week, yeah, we made it. 1,240 words for the 5-day period. Hopefully by the end of the week, it'll be 1,400. Probably will be more than that. But I would love to hear what y'all are working on. And if you have a daily word goal, if you don't, what role consistency plays versus if you're a more spontaneous writer. I love to hear about people and their processes. That's my favorite part of going to any reading. And of course, we don't have readings now. So drop a comment below. I would love to hear what y'all are up to, and I will see you later.